Okay, grab this. Oh, it's Luffy. Hi.
Welcome back to my channel.
Welcome back to our channel. Cheers to Tay being on the podcast.
Oh, I just clicked something.
What have you
I
clicked?
don't know the on button.
No! What the hell?
Oops.
There you go.
Sorry about that.
Don't press anything.
Oh god, okay.
Cheers.
Cheers!
Hi everyone. You know me. My name's Luce. This is my best friend Taylor from England, who's come to Australia from England to stay with us. Hi Tay.
Hi, Luce.
So we're just going to get straight into it because I'm going to put on a 30-minute timer
Because you know us.
because you know us.
We waffle.
I'm going to give us as much time to get into it. Me and Taylor have both been in long distance relationships, so we thought that would be a really good thing to talk about because I know a lot of people are either scared to do it or are in one or might be thinking about one, or it's just a big thing, isn't it? Sometimes you fall in love with someone and they don't live where you live.
And it seems to be becoming more common with more people travelling.
Yep.
It seems to be sort of on the rise.
Yep.
Yeah.
With like meeting people on the internet and stuff. So I am not in one anymore. Me and Ryan were long distance for like 9 months, where he lived here in Australia and I lived in England. And Taylor.
So I have a boyfriend in Portugal. Met him back in May. Saw him once since then. And yeah, seeing him again in December. But yeah, so it's fairly new.
Yeah. So me and Taylor's situations are slightly different. Taylor met her partner and they didn't know each other before that, and then sort of started on a long distance relationship.
Yeah.
Me and Ryan, we did know each other before, so there is slight differences, but I still think that both of our sort of experiences and perspectives might hopefully just give you some tips, some tricks, maybe some validation or reassurance if you're needing it about long distance relationships, the how to. So,
Yeah.
start us off, love.
Start you off. So I guess the main difference between like Lucy and I's situation as well is that I met Diogo literally at a festival, knew him for 2 days. We spent the rest of the festival together. We were together for 2 days and very quickly just made a decision that we seemed to just seem right for each other. So we just went for it. There wasn't really any doubt in our minds. I went out to see him in July, 2 months later, and yeah, everything just seems to be going well. I have found that in general, I've been the more regulated one. Like, I have been able to just hold on to that faith of like, we met each other, we clicked, we went for it. What's the alternative? Like, not trying and giving up, like, that was never an option for me. That didn't feel right. Yeah, it's been hard. It has been hard, but also there are ways to like manage that and to kind of regulate yourself. I mean, we're so lucky nowadays. Obviously, we have all this technology. If we're in contact, pretty much all day. If we're not messaging, we're video calling, which sometimes I found hard in terms of you're not getting that full impact of that person naturally because you're typing a message, you're looking at them through a phone, but it's the closest thing we have, and we just have to be grateful for that. I think you could very easily get caught up in the frustration of it all, but actually just reminding myself that I'm grateful to have that has just been really important for me. Yeah.
Something that came up when you were saying that, like, texting and calling all the time, for me was actually how that is one of the difficulties of a long distance relationship, is that like you have to be so careful not to just always be on your phone,
Yeah,
not to just be totally disconnected from the life that you're actually in, the
yeah,
people you're actually around, the job that you actually have to do, your friends, your family. Like, you have to find a real balance, I
you
think,
really do.
between like um maintaining that the quality of that relationship, but also maintaining the quality of the life that you're
Yeah,
in, that your partner isn't.
I think you have to be able to separate the two. Um, yeah, you have to, because especially if you're someone that is conscious about, the time, your screen time and things like that. You have to be able to be enjoying your life and making sure that you're not constantly missing them. Of
Mm.
course, you're going to miss them, but you have to, you know, fully dive into your real life and make sure you just select your times where you find find time for that
Yeah,
person. You can't constantly be mixing the two. I find that very conflicting
yeah,
because, you know, yeah, they're not really here. They're on a phone, but
yeah.
yeah,
And I feel like at the start, that's something that is harder, and then you get used to it. At the start, you just
hmm
think, well, I'm not
yeah,
with them, so nothing is like good here. Nothing
yeah,
makes me
yeah,
happy. But then after a while, you start to be able to regulate. And with me and Ryan, it was almost a blessing that we were on like opposite time zones. So he was just asleep all of my
mm,
day, and vice versa. And we had like morning and evening, just a little crossover that we definitely used. Um, but then like the big part of my day was not talking. And I wonder, maybe that is a suggestion that you do have to be like, right, I need to just fully engage in my life right
yeah.
now, where I need to be paying full attention to the people that I'm talking to and the activities that I'm doing, rather than just being that person that's just like
It's some,
barely in the
yeah.
conversation.
It's having discipline. It's sort
Yeah,
like you do have to have, yeah, discipline within a long distance relationship, I think, and that is one of the things. Um, yeah,
yeah. Like this weekend, we went camping, and you sort of didn't speak to
no,
Diogo at all, which
no,
is not necessarily like, oh, do that, but you know, you weren't just constantly an absent person, which I have seen
yeah,
that before, where people, even in relationships that aren't necessarily long distance, they're just not like absent people in their actual life because
yeah.
they're just totally with their partner. And I would really suggest that you be really conscious of that if you are in one or thinking about one or finding yourself.
I think there would be a sense of constantly waiting if
Yeah,
you were to do that, constantly
yeah,
waiting for that time when you're there again.
that you're not long
Waiting,
distance.
yeah,
Yeah,
and it could become a frustrating cycle.
yeah, and
And
you miss out on the life that actually you are able
yeah,
to
you do.
experience and live, and the
Yeah,
connections that you're able to have in the life that you do have without that person.
yeah, and in the same way that if you were physically together, if you have that time apart and then you come back together, everything, you seem more connected.
Yeah,
You've had your time
yeah,
apart, you've found happiness within yourself, which means you can give that
yeah,
happiness to the other person. And I think the same should apply in, yeah, in a messaging or video calling sense.
yeah,
Yeah, just coming back to yourself and, yeah, just
yeah,
remembering who you are without that person as much as you love them or you
yeah,
want to be with them.
yeah.
Yeah.
What's another either something that you struggle with the most, or either like a tip or a trick?
Um, I would say the thing I struggle with most is probably the fact that my love language is physical touch. And obviously, that is the one thing you cannot
Hmm.
get in a long distance relationship when you're not together. Um, so, yeah, that's been my biggest struggle, kind of navigating kind of how we work in that sense. Because, in my situation, we have only had a select few days together. Um, and yeah, that's just something you obviously can't do over a phone. So kind of having to translate my love language into, different a different love language, um, like sending a postcard from Australia, for example. Um, so yeah, that's been something that I have struggled with.
Hmm.
Um,
I guess sometimes it can always feel quite dissociating because your body just does not feel like you have a partner or a romantic connection, because you're just not getting any physical touch. And
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
then emotionally you feel very, in love, and you feel very
Yeah.
seen and heard and all the fuzzy feelings. But physically your body's like, nah, like
Yeah.
nothing. I'm not receiving any physical love. I'm not being able to give anything. Like, and yeah, it can almost feel a little bit dissociating sometimes
You
to have
can.
that those two different experiences.
And of course, there are things you can do to, remind yourself of that physical touch, and, like masturbation being one of them. But
Mm.
actually, I find that your mind could start fabricating things that potentially will never happen,
Yeah, you are right.
and then you've set
Yeah.
an expectation there, that may not, come true when you do come back together.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Like if, say, you were like masturbating over imagining you guys having this hot,
mm,
passionate, incredible sex, and then it doesn't, and then you sort of meet up with them after months apart, and
yeah,
you've built this whole like,
you're putting pressure on how you're going to be when you come back together. You're putting
yeah,
pressure on the other person, pressure on yourself to perform, when actually, it is nicer to just see how it unfolds.
mm,
And inevitably that distance is going to create some awkwardness when you do come back together. So
very
it's like,
true.
if you're constantly maintaining this kind of notion that you're very physically, well, sexually connected, and then that doesn't happen sort of straight
Yeah,
away, you could become very dysregulated,
yeah,
because yeah, you've sort of built all this up in your head,
yeah,
and it sort of doesn't come to fruition. So
yeah.
yeah, but we were talking about something the other day, um was having like phone
Phone
sex,
sex.
which
It's
it's just something that I've never been comfortable with. I'm not completely against it. We haven't delved into that area yet. And it was interesting to hear you and Ryan talking about how you'd navigate that and how it made you really connected.
yeah, yeah. Me and Ryan, I remember there being a period where we just had no sort of sexual interaction, because we were just obviously always FaceTiming and whatever, and the time difference and whatever. And it started to be a little bit of like a, when you just, and you don't really notice you started feeling that disconnection until it just sort of comes upon you, where you actually start to feel quite disconnected. Um, and we talked about, the fact that we haven't really, gotten each other saucy and spicy. Um we're not like we're not fostering that side of our relationship. And Ryan was like, oh nah, I can't, it's just so awkward. And but we ended up, like, for some reason, that conversation and just acknowledging that we both felt awkward about it, just, it then just like happened very quickly and naturally after that. And then the awkwardness just disappeared, and then we were
Mm.
able to enjoy that interactions with each other, where we could actually, please each other, obviously not physically but visually. And
Mhm.
um but it's funny you say that, because actually when we used to have like phone sex, so TMI if my parents are watching this, nah.
Even Diogo, I'm like,
Nah. um Anyway, look, we're
yes,
all adults here. Anyway, but what one thing was interesting is, after me and Ryan would connect that way together, I would feel so sad. Sometimes I'd shed a little tear,
yeah,
because you've just felt so close,
yeah.
and there's so much energy, and then, you reach this, you know, whatever. I'm just thinking about mum and dad now.
What, during phone sex?
Just so, and then you're finished, and you've just had this really intimate time together, but then no one's there. And then, more often than not, for Ryan, because of the time difference, one of us would have to sort of pop off to bed.
Yeah, and that's the same with
And I'd
masturbation, I would say.
Yeah, I'd literally just be
Yeah,
like, that did go. I felt sad afterwards about 1 to 3 times. Then I was fine. I just got used to the fact that, we would have those like a really lovely connecting times where we just fostered that, and then we wouldn't be with each other, and
Mm.
that was just that. But yeah, it's an interesting one. But it did used to make me sad after. I remember feeling sad afterwards.
Yeah, I feel the
Um,
same, but go on.
but what I was gonna say was another thing me and Ryan used to do, which I mentioned to Taylor like earlier, was we used to use visualization. So we wouldn't be masturbating, like we wouldn't be having phone sex as you would think of it, but we would use visualization. So we'd both, sit like, and our phones would be there and we could see each other, but we'd both like go into like a meditation where we'd imagine like a ring around us both, and we'd imagine sort of being able to be with each other in that
Mm.
in that enclosed space, and like imagining just hugging each other, and we'd both be doing it at the same time, and we'd be sort of leading each other in, being like, oh, I'm like doing this now, and blah blah blah. And those would be like that, the intimacy we would feel after those times was so nice. You would literally feel like you had just
Yeah.
been with them.
I suppose it is connecting through shared experiences,
Yeah.
you know, yeah, and that comes into the category of kind of date night together, even if it is over a phone. Like, if the only way you can connect is through shared experiences, then yeah, I'm all for it, no matter what it is.
Yeah, literally
And
anything.
going back to the phone sex thing, sometimes it is like going out your comfort zone, or like crossing a boundary, or like whatever it is, just kind of testing the waters and seeing what works, because actually it could really transform your relationship.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I remember it was a really lovely thing that me and Ryan were able to unlock and then have as part of
mm,
our relationship structure, was, being able to, when we both felt the energy rise, is to act on it, and nurture that like
yeah.
fire.
And I think if I look at the difference between our situations, it's hard to. I've just forgotten what I'm saying.
The difference between our situations. I said, it's nice to be able to unlock that in our relationship, and
Yeah. Oh, I guess the difference is, my situation is very new. We've just kind
mm,
of started this thing and just jumped right in, and we're having faith. And even further, you're going to be, you know, pushing more boundaries, and kind of you're still getting to know each other essentially
it's
through a
true.
phone.
Yeah, that's tough, man.
And that was one thing, I sort of said to Diogo was, are we going to fall in love through a phone?
Mm,
Is that possible? Am I, but actually, even just through conversations, like now, sometimes we may go a week without video calling, and then sort of we'll start chatting, and I do feel really, really distant, but actually, the conversation will develop. We'll have more open conversations, more connection, and then before you know it, I'm like gazing at him through a phone, like
mm,
having all these feelings.
mm,
And but sometimes it can feel really like invalidating, like my brain's being like, no, this isn't possible, this isn't, like, but it's
mm,
like, actually just feel what you feel.
mm,
This might be really kind of taboo, and like you might be in a really unique situation with this, but actually what I've really learned is just to roll with the feeling. Don't focus on the logical thoughts, just
mm,
roll with the feeling, because if you focus on all the logics of how are we going to make this work, when am I next going to see him, when
mm,
all of this stuff, it really can just cloud your kind of judgment. Still have that logic and
mhm.
that sensible mindset, but actually just like focusing on the feelings and remembering the feelings of when you did spend that time together. That's something that's like really, really helped me. um yeah.
Yeah, just allowing
Yeah.
yourself to like feel what you're feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. Next topic. Let me look at my notes
Just get
actually.
your notes. I feel like I had something then, but
Yeah, I mean, going back to the emotional thing. um I don't know if this is good advice or not, but this is something that I recently thought about is, even if you're not feeling those emotions like deeply, if you think back to when you were together and you know that you feel those emotions deeply, it's little things like calling your partner, like a term of endearment, babe, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Just maintaining that,
Yeah.
even if you are feeling like distant, and maybe like just having that maintenance of kind of keeping that level of love and showing them care, however you may do that. Yeah, it's almost like a fake it till you make it kind of attitude. Like, just think, I know how this feels when we're together. I know how I feel about you. We might have all this distance, but if I was with you, I'd be using these words or these,
Yeah.
whatever your sort of love language is. Or yeah, I think it's just trying to maintain that, because inevitably the more kind of obstacles that are in the way and the more things you
Mm.
like lose in between, it's like, yeah, eventually the distance is just going to grow, and then
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, there is definitely a thing of feeling distant when you are long distance, which obviously makes
Yeah.
a lot of sense, where
Yeah.
it's just way easier to feel distant, and not feel as connected emotionally. And I think there's almost more pressure on the emotional connection because there's no chance of a physical one. There's more pressure for that emotional connection to be present, because if that's gone, then what have you got?
And actually, I found that to be quite a beautiful part of having a long distance relationship, is the only thing you've got is communication.
Hmm.
And if you've got that communication down, you speak to each other if you're feeling distant, you have open conversation, like, all of this stuff. I think, yeah, I think that's been quite a beautiful part, to
Yeah.
just be like, do you know what, no matter how old we get, we're going to have the same kind of mindset and like
Mhm.
personality and all
Mhm.
that sort of thing, and we're going to discuss the same things.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, it
that
does
can,
really like test a relationship and show the strength and
it
connection
really
when
does.
all you have is conversation.
Yeah.
You don't have shared activities, you don't have physical touch, you don't have shared space, shared friends, shared
Yeah.
experiences, shared memories, and all you've got is like your ability to communicate and have a conversation with each other. It really
Yeah,
does put a relationship through.
it does.
It tests the strength of it, and it is a beautiful
Communication
thing.
is key at
Yeah,
the end of
it's
the
not a
day.
bad thing. Yeah,
Yeah, communication is key. It really is.
yeah.
So that has been something really nice to just focus on, especially, I don't know how you and Ryan were with this, but I might have had tendencies to kind of form that sexual connection quite quickly with somebody and almost just go off of that and just think, oh yeah, this feels right. But actually, because we've had so many more moments of conversation over physical touch, and that is the thing that's like the most important. You're
Mm-mm.
getting to know someone's real heart, um, that I haven't been kind of misled by our like sexual connection.
Yeah, it's so true.
So for me personally, that's been like really
Mhm,
helpful.
mhm.
I don't know how you and Ryan have found that side of things.
Yeah, I mean, we spent when we first got together, we spent about 2 to 3 weeks together before we then were long distance. So I feel like we had. I mean, you guys, what, a couple of days.
Literally.
Um, so we had more time to like establish that. But I guess me and Ryan knew each other before as well, so it wasn't
Mm,
like I was being, you know, misled, because I sort of knew
it's
who I
true.
was.
Surprise!
It's the man
I've just turned
himself.
into Ryan. I was oh, I was Lucy. Now I'm Ryan.
So Ryan's just come back, and my phone went out of storage, so we're all here now. And yeah, I was just saying how it can feel really frustrating to have a countdown, and I'm sure anyone in a long distance relationship can empathize to that feeling of that like tightness on your chest when you've got 4 months, or you've
Mhm.
got like 2 weeks, and it's just you're so buzzing to see them. You've been counting down for so long. You just count down every day. It's a lot, isn't it? We had a big countdown.
Yeah.
I think it speaks.
Glad easy.
Great, Ryan.
So my brain is still buzzing from football.
I think that
Yeah.
you can go now. Actually,
That was my input.
I think it speaks. It speaks to commitment itself. Like if you have a date, I think that almost like speaks to commitment from the other person in itself. And like Luce and I were just saying about it's like it can be quite frustrating when you have a countdown on a date because you're constantly waiting and like kind of waiting for that time to go and trying to live your life whilst also looking forward to this thing constantly, not wanting time to go quickly because you want to live your life, but like it's finding that balance of kind of
It has like two energies attached to it.
Oh, you just need to leave,
There is
don't you?
so wrong with me. Yeah, there's the frustration where it can't come quick enough, and then there's the excitement of it's happening.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And it's a really you just can't dispel the energy because it's just you can't do anything with it. You can't see the person. You can't make time go quicker. Whatever. You just have to be like, and then sitting with that.
Yeah, and then I don't know about you guys. Kind of the first time you saw each other after a while, but when I saw, when I saw Diogo like the next time, it was like there was a lot of pressure on it. Like I put a lot of pressure on it, and there was actually a moment where I got very intense with it in my own mind because I was just putting all this pressure of like, this has to work. Is this working? Because it's a commitment. It's a real commitment to really just wait for that person, put all your energy into someone, and especially my situation where like really, we've got a lot to learn about each other. So yeah, it's like that pressure when you are together. Sometimes for me it came to a point where it took me out of the situation itself and I wasn't actually enjoying that like moment with him. I was just so focused on but what if this and what if that, and it can build up a lot of of pressure.
When you've only got say you've only got a week together in the middle of this sea of long distance, is that week holds a lot of pressure. And I remember even we felt when you're coming to the end of that time, you start getting upset and anxious, and then you're like, you're a bit upset towards the end because you know that your time together is coming to an end, and you're like, oh my god, it just felt like forever to get here, and now it's already over. It's just crazy.
And then you've got
another fucking however many months to go back in the trenches. But I do really think a big tip is to always have at least something talked about, booked.
Just talking about future plans in general. Just having that sense of like, this is why we're doing this. Let's keep pushing. Kind of
and
thing.
I think a plan to have an end to long distance. I think there might be some couples out there who able to function well just living totally separate lives with no plan to merge them. But I think if you do want it to be a normal relationship at some point, you're just in a phase, then being like, no, we know that at this point this is going to end. We do have plans for this to not be how it is.
And it does happen. I mean, look at you guys. I'm sure you sort of barely remember that time where you were,
to be honest,
apart.
I barely remember it. Before you know it, you've been living with them for 8 months, and
so this is a prime example, everybody.
It
can work, and it does work.
It does work. I don't think long distance relationships are like a big no. What do you think?
I don't think so.
No, they're essential when you want to be with that person, but life just needs to catch up. Your personal life just needs to catch up to the relationship.
I mean, and then you've got the whole thing of things you have to do in life. Like, does your job fit around it? Does your, I don't know, can you afford it? All of these things, all of these practical things that, unfortunately you do have to take into account. Like, I'm going back into education in September. That can be a really hard aspect.
Someone ultimately has to change their whole life, or maybe both of you change your lives or whatever to merge your two lives that are
there's
not
sacrifice.
together.
There's
Yeah.
sacrifice, and sometimes more from one partner than the other.
Yeah.
Usually that is the case. Did you guys find you had any sacrifices? Do you still feel a level of sacrifice if there was any?
Lucy was the one that definitely sacrificed out of us two.
Yeah.
She had a good career back in England. She enjoyed it. It was a lot for her. Like, I remember having big conversations with her about being completely run down.
Really?
Do you not remember this?
I actually don't.
Like, emotionally, because you had to be so emotionally ready with the. All good?
Just checking to stop recording.
Nice. You had to be so emotionally available with the kids, and it was just taking a toll on you. Do you not remember that stage in your life when we were doing long distance?
Yeah, I do remember. It was a hard job. Yeah, it was a hard job.
But even that, it's like, I can't even remember now. It was so worth it.
Yeah.
You've made the sacrifice. You're here. You do it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I knew there would be stuff out here for you.
Yeah, so I was the one to move and leave, friends, family, job to be here. And also when you are long distance, you're having to, take more holidays. Your holidays, normally have to be seeing your partner a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Or, you have to find jobs that allow you to go and pop to Portugal every other weekend. Or, your life becomes, that becomes a big priority and it changes a lot.
It's a lot to navigate. And that kind of love can sometimes weigh on you, because it's like, does this feeling of love and commitment to this person actually outweigh the sacrifice and the amount of logistical working out I'm having to do? It can be, it can feel heavy sometimes, and you don't want it to feel like that. You want it to feel happy and light, but unfortunately life is that way.
It's too true.
But just discussing with your partner, I think, and just also checking in with yourself, is this actually what I want? What will this look like for me if I give up my job? Obviously you can't plan too much. Sometimes you just have to have faith and jump in and make these decisions and see what happens and go from there. But actually it is really important to say, what would I do if I hadn't met this person? What was my plan before I met this person? Am I going to regret not traveling here or whatever it is? Because ultimately you could just end up resenting that person in the long run.
You've got to make sure that your decisions benefit you both.
I'm so grateful for Lucy's sacrifice. I know how much that old job meant to you.
Yeah, I loved it.
And
but
you did enjoy your life. I knew that when you came over here and you started finding your groove, you would love it.
Yeah, and
I knew that. That's why I was so firm on staying with Australia, It's like a very exciting time.
Yeah, it is good.
And then we get to go back to England, so
that is true. We form a life together.
And we might even do long distance again.
How do you feel about that, Lucy?
But let's stop it now because it's been 30 minutes. And also, I feel like I'm really tired. I literally feel myself
She's had a long day.
Yeah. She had a work day and no one else did.
Yeah, really.
She's still working.
Nice. Nice. Come all the way to Australia to be worked like a horse.
But it's worth it for
Take
love.
Yeah, it's great. We love it here, don't we?
But
there have been times when I've been like, I've come all the way out here. You've got to make sure that it's a joint decision. Definitely don't make decisions on false information. That's definitely a key.
Honesty is the best
policy.
Don't do that. Communication,
knowing what's going on, making informed
watching
choices.
Podcasts about long distance relationships, so you know how to navigate them.
Right, I don't know why, but I've actually just zoned out.
Yeah.
All right, thanks everyone.
Peace out.
I think I just relax her so much. I just calm her down. Cheers.
Lovely. That was great.